as others wrongly interpret. But the Indians are full of gratitude to the species of cow for supplying milk to the human babies. And sentiment is so fine that simply for supplying milk, the cow is accepted as one of the four mothers. This is the Indian cultural vision. Until the previous century, every farmer lived in a self-sufficient and happy life. Cows used to give ample milk for consumption. Cow dung used to be manure for crops. Bullocks used to help in plowing and tilling the fields. In fact, there is no other animal which can serve so many purposes. But in the last few decades, the number of desi cows have drastically reduced to an alarming low level. This is mainly because of operation of illegal slaughterhouses. From a moral point of view, you get milk from a cow. It's like your mother. So killing a cow after taking its milk is similar to killing your own mother after taking food from her. The indigenous nondescript cattle population of the country is 14.21 crores as per 2019 census compared to 72.32 crores. I repeat, 72.32 crores around 1947. The very first thing we must know is that there are 3,600 slaughterhouses in India which carries a license to kill cows. Other than that, there are more than almost 36,000 illegal slaughterhouses in India. 36,000. That is 10 times. Almost 2.5 crore cows are killed annually. A case was filed in the Supreme Court against cow slaughter, which was heard by a 7-judge constitutional bench under the chairmanship of ex-Chief Justice of India, R.C. Lahoti. The hearing was carried on for 1.5 years from almost January 2004 to September 2005. The arguments of the slaughterhouses were: one, there is no use in saving a old cow. We are strengthening the Indian economy as meat is exported. Two, there is a lack of proper fodder for the cows and cattle. It is better to kill them than letting them to die of hunger. Third, there is no place for people to live in India. Where will be the cattle be reared? Fourth, we get precious foreign currency with its export. 5, butchering capital is also a legal religious right. A healthy cow weighs around 3 to 3.5 quintal, and when it is slaughtered, about 70 kilos meat is extracted. 1 kilo meat is exported at the rate of, say, about 100 rupees. So that means 70 kgs will give around 7,000. Now about 25 liters of blood is extracted from the same healthy cow, which fetch around 3,000 rupees. About 30-35 kilos of bones are also extracted, that is sold for about, say, 2,000. So ultimately, when a cow is slaughtered and sold as parts, then not more than 12,000 is earned. Without killing a cow, if it is reared, then how much we can earn out of it? These are all taken from a Supreme Court hearing and judgment. We can produce 30 kgs of organic manure by using 1 kg of cow dung. IRC, Institute of Research Committee scientists who got it tested submitted the report to the Supreme Court. I repeat, 1 kg cow dung properly processed can produce 33 kgs organic manure. After test, it was proved that this manure contains all essential 18 micronutrients that a soil of a cultivated field needs. They are manganese, phosphate, potassium, calcium, iron, cobalt, silicon, etc. Artificial fertilizers rarely contain more than 3 minerals. Therefore, cow dung manure is 10 times better than the artificial one. This court acknowledged it. Thus, cow dung is known as the best manure and the best soil fertilizer throughout the world. Microbial composition of a cow dung includes about 60 species of bacteria, fungi, and 100 species of protozoa and yeast. Further, 1 kg of organic manure, if sold in the international market, is about 10 rupees. Therefore, on daily basis, 10 kgs of cow dung fetch around 3,300 on the lower side. That is 330 kg manure from a 10 kilo cow dung at the rate of 10 rupees. There are no Sundays or weekly off for getting cow dung. Therefore, in 365 days in a year, we can earn about 3,300 into 365, 12 lakhs per year out of cow dung. I'm not joking. On an average, a cow's age is about 20 years and keeps giving dung till the last day. It may not be beyond imagination that how much one can earn by just cow's cow dung. 12 lakhs into 20 years, 2.4 crores. This argument is a slap in the face of that elite generation who went on through the convent education system, who consider our religion, culture, teachings as mere hypocrisy, and who laugh at the thought of goddess Lakshmi residing in the cow's cow dung. This is the price the country has been paying in the hands of multinational fertilizer corporation and multinational drugs corporation, which is calling everything a superstition. And where are our businessmen and industrialists to prove all this? The same cow's cow dung can be used to produce methane gas, which is used as alternate to LPG in our kitchen to cook food and also to run a four-wheeler. Exactly the way the vehicle can run on LPG gas, the vehicle can also run on a methane gas. The Supreme Court judges could not believe it. Thus, a methane gas cylinder was fitted to one of the judge car with his permission. The judge used it for full 3 months. He said that the expense is much less, just around 1 rupee per kilometer, and diesel at that time would cost around 6 rupees per kilometer. And unlike diesel, there is no smoke generated from the burning of methane. Plus, there is rarely any sound pollution in the vehicle running on methane gas. Judge was very much impressed. If we can get 10 kilo cow dung per day, how much methane gas can be produced out of it per year in 20 years? There are 14 crore cows in the country, and if we can collect cow dung from all these cows and use and make methane, we can just get, I repeat the figure, 1,32,000 crores. We can run our whole transportation without diesel, without petrol. These are scientific facts. Then we don't have to beg the Arabs for crude oil and US for the currency to buy the crude oil. In this way, our rupee also will get strengthened. Cows also play a significant role in the protection of environment as they feed both on dry and wet grasses and help in solid waste management. According to Ayurveda, cow dung is a purifier of all waste in nature. When spread over urban and rural waste in solution form, it biodegrades the waste in time. It is a gold mine due to its wide application in the field of agriculture, energy resource, environmental protection, and therapeutic applications. Cow dung is cheap and easily available rich source for microflora. The source of cow dung as per Ayurveda should be from a healthy desi indigenous cow, fed upon healthy diet of pastures, including various natural herbs which have been reared hygienically. Cow dung slurry, usually in the rate of 1:10 or 1:25, is sprinkled over rural, urban, and hospital waste and oil spillage to degrade them naturally into 5 basic elements. Composting, when carried out under controlled conditions in the presence of oxygen, results in biological decomposition and stabilization of biodegradable components. Composting is now increasingly used to accelerate the breakdown and transformation of pollutants, including pesticides, and for stabilization of heavy metals in soil. These interactions ensure pollutants are exposed to a broad range of microbes in the environment, thereby increasing chances of their breakdown or transformation into different microbes. Additionally, some organic components formed during composting can bind some metals in ways that prevent their easy removal and their translocation from sensitive ecosystems. Cow dung has been found to be rich in energy, protein, mineral, vitamins, which can improve soil properties, especially in pollution sites. Cow dung is the best natural bioremediation agent for hydrocarbon polluted soils, as it increases the population and diversity of microflora of such polluted environments to enhance bioremediation. The mixed culture of microorganisms found in the cow dung can be harnessed by the researchers in such a mixed culture of microbes, which naturally enhance the oil degrading capabilities. It can be concluded cow dung is a sole eco-friendly bioremediation agent for petroleum hydrocarbon polluted soils. In saline soil, high electrical conductivity means excess salt is present, which retard plant growth and also retards microbiological activities in soil which support plant growth. After the addition of just 400 grams of cow dung, there was a decrease in electrical conductivity, which shows cow dung can be used for treatment of moderately saline soil. Cow dung helps in increasing pH of acidified soil, ultimately helps in treating the polluted soil. It helps in supplying nutrients to polluted soil. The cow dung remediation of our polluted soil is not only beneficial to farmers whose soil get polluted with the help of chemical pesticides, but also beneficial to those people who want to live in harmony with nature. It is an eco-friendly method of treatment, which is the cheaper one. Cow dung is used in biogas manufacturing, plastering, sacred ceremonies, etc. What are we doing? Okay, what the Britishers and Mughals did in the country is past. There is nothing we can do about it. Why not the government set up some research centers and find the truth for themselves? Are we not civilized people? I'm not talking any religion or spirituality. I'm talking pure science. Now let us talk about Gomutra, Go urine. The cow is a mobile medical dispensary, and cow urine is a solution or remedy for all the diseases. Cow urine is a divine medicine. A lot of research has been conducted in the cow urine treatment, and Research Center Indore over the past few years has been reported that Gomutra is capable of curing blood pressure, blockage in arteries, arthritis, diabetes, heart attack, cancer, typhoid, asthma, psoriasis, eczema, prostate, fits, AIDS, piles, migraine, ulcer, acidity, constipation, gynecological problems, ear and nose problems, and several other diseases. The cow urine in India, use of cow urine in India can be traced back to Vedic and probably pre-Vedic period also. There are exigencies of innumerable instances of various ancient medical texts for the curative properties of cow urine for a horde of human ailments. In ancient Indian system of medicine, urine of cow was accepted and almost used as a broad spectrum antibiotic, quite akin to the of the 21st century. The present day researchers have quoted that rational use of this animal product eliminates any non-functionality of respiratory systems, hepatogastrointestinal systems, cardiovascular systems, cancer, and total of 48 diseases among others. It can be cured. Cow's urine is not a toxic effluent because 95% of it contains water, 2.5% urea, and the remaining 2.5% a mixture of minerals, salt, hormones, and enzymes. In the rural villages in India, cow urine is being used since very long time as an effective antiseptic for wounds, skin diseases, bathing, etc. The biochemical estimation of cow urine has shown it contains sodium, nitrogen, sulfur, vitamin A, B, C, D, E, minerals, manganese, iron, silicon, chlorine, magnesium, citric, lactose, carbonic acid, enzymes, creatinine, and hormones. Any deficiency or excess of these substances inside the body will cause disorders. Cow urine contains all these substances with having balanced proximate composition. Essentially, cow urine is used as a disinfectant and for purification. With an appropriate shelf life of around 5 years, this can prove to be the most effective natural antiseptic and disinfectant when compared to synthetic chemicals. Those are currently available to the consumers. A cow gives around 2 liters of urine per day. 1 liter processed is sold in the Indian market for about, say, 500. In the international market, it can fetch much more. Surprisingly, in America, Gomutra urine is patented, and that the American government imports Indian cow urine every year and makes medicine for cancer and diabetes. Now, let's take some conservative estimate. Cow urine sold in US, say around 1,000 rupees, it fetches 2,000 per day because of 2 liters. Therefore, in 20 years, we can earn 2,000 into 365 for 20 years. 2,000 into 365 for 20 years means 1.44 crores per cow by just selling urine. Cow urine contains all substances which are naturally present in human body. Thus, consumption of cow urine maintains the balance of all these substances and helps cure incurable diseases. It is naturally eco-friendly, no residual effects, economical, easily available, hence can be harnessed as a potential therapeutic agent. Cow urine, as such, has been most widely referred, used, and venerated animal urine owing to the immense therapeutic speciality. While externally it can be used as a lotion, ointment, and bath, but internally it can be used in preparation of oral medications and drinks. Cow urine not only is used against ailment of diseases as therapeutic agents, but also several other uses in agriculture and sericulture sectors. Cow urine is basically an excellent germicide and potential antibiotic. Therefore, cow urine therapy destroys all pathogenic organisms, and if taken on daily basis, it boosts immunity. In fact, I have been taking this for the last 5 years, and look at my immunity level. I'm 60, but except for my tummy, I definitely look around 40. Urine consumption improves immunity and fastens wound healings process. Cardiovascular systems is maintained by a number of its attributes. Ammonia maintains the structural integrity of blood corpuscles. Nitrogen, sulfur, sodium, and calcium components act as purifiers, while iron and erythropoietin stimulating factor maintain hemoglobin levels. Presence of copper and calcium promotes its anti-obesity and skeleton bone health effects. Apart from curing diseases, cow urine also helps in maintaining homeostasis of a body, which affects certain body functions like lowering cholesterol level, relieving tension, improving memory, enhancing the functioning of liver, slowing the aging process, giving strength to the brain, heart, and destroying the toxic effects of medicinal residues in the body. These are all patented matter which have taken from medical journals. Yeah, as per recent studies, cow urine is proved to be effective pest controller and larvicide when used alone or in combination with different plant preparations by enhancing the efficacy of herbal preparation. Cow urine boosted the annual grass yield by causing an increase in nitrogen component of the soil and marked depression in nitrogen fixation by 10% annually in clovers, particularly in winters. The effects on yield lasted 2-3 harvests and were followed by a decrease in clover growth. Cow urine is a bioenhancer, increases the nitrogen content of the soil for better rearing of honeybees, hastens the pubertal age of heifers exposed to the bull urine, and as a pesticide and larvicide in fodder crops. Having talked about cow dung and cow urine, I will now go to Panchagavya. Ayurvedic has given utmost importance to cow milk, curd, ghee, urine, and cow dung at various places. These substances are called Gavya in Ayurveda. There are 5 are considered together. They are called Panchagavya. The 5 entities classified under Panchagavya are Gomutra, cow urine, Gohrita, ghee, Godadi, curd, Gomaya, cow dung, Godudha, cow milk. The above 5 have their individual properties and uses. Panchagavya obtained from cow are used in the production of medicines, manures, pesticide, tooth powder, bath soaps, etc. It is highly beneficial in curing diseases including epilepsy, swelling, fever, jaundice, and cough. Jivamrutam. We at our Kanikalammavari Goshala are happy to inform you we have cultivated and harvested high quality paddy without using any chemical fertilizer like urea, DAP, potash, etc., and without spraying any chemical disinfectants to control the pesticides or insecticides. We have used Jivamrutam made out of cow dung, cow urine, jaggery, basin powder, and topsoil. This natural fertilizer enhances soil and develops earthworm for qualitative production, growth and production of paddy. We have developed natural pesticides out of certain herbal plant extracts and neem oil. So the Supreme Court on 26th October 2005, through a judgment, created history. The copy of the judgment can be downloaded from www.supremecourtcaselaws.com. It says that to kill a cow is a constitutional and religious sin, the original wording of the Chief Justice. It also says that it is the constitutional duty of every citizen as well as the government to protect a cow. As you know, there are some constitutional duties like to abide by the Constitution, respect the national flag, respect freedom fighters, to uphold and protect sovereignty, integrity, and unity of India. And now it will also include cow protection. Supreme Court said it is the responsibility of all the states and union territories government that they should stop the killing of cows in their territory. It will be constitutional responsibility of the governor, chief minister, and chief secretary as well. I am a master in commerce, fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of Delhi, and a practicing company secretary, age 60 years. having taken classes in the subject of corporate law for more than 1 lakh students of professional courses of CISW and CS across country in the last 30 years. Using all my lifetime earnings, I set up a trust in the name of local Grama Devata, Sri Kanikalammavari Goshala at Tambalapalli Mandal near Madanapalli, Chittoor district, Andhra Pradesh. It is 110 kilometers from Tirupati, so also 110 kilometers from Bangalore. Tirupati-Bangalore route somewhere midway. And now I am taking care of 267 aged cows and calves, which otherwise would have gone to slaughterhouses. Having created a huge infrastructure in terms of cattle sheds, dry grass storage systems, bore wells, water storage tanks, we are making the cow live in its natural habitat, unlike other goshalas, which have turned itself into a living animal prison with no space to move, leave alone free grazing. We must make a distinction between a goshala for go samrakshana and a milk dairy. My goshala predominantly takes care of abundant and aged cows and ox, which are not milk yielding. Thus, we are into the job of go samrakshana. Also, it is high time that the government makes an announcement declaring the cow as a national animal. This is the only way to prevent effective cow slaughter. We are also cultivating green fodder for captive consumption. The entire capital expenditure for the whole Goshala for creating this huge infrastructure was met from my earnings alone. Small donations received from others are used only for Goshala maintenance expenditure, including labor cost, fodder cost, medicines, and other expenses. My object in life is to ensure no single cow goes to slaughterhouse. I'm trying my best to make the Goshala self-sustainable in the longer run. The happiness of giving has to be experienced. I understand from confirmed sources that our country is in the brink of severe food shortage down the line in another 8 to 10 years. This is because of indiscriminate and uncontrolled use of deadly chemical fertilizers, poisonous insecticides, destroying the soil fertility. Also, such food grains, vegetables, and fruits consumed cause diseases and health problems. Various research has established that medicines prepared by using cow and cow urine can cure, as I already told you, 48 deadly diseases. Incidentally, certain US universities and multinational corporations have obtained 6 patents for products made out of cow urine, Indian Desi cow urine. Since we have more than 267 Desi cows and calves, we propose to establish a cow research center and cure and eradicate diseases, improve soil fertility, grow grains, vegetables, and fruits free from chemical fertilizer and pesticides. I request you and all other social activists and experts from agriculture veterinary field to help us in establishing this cow research center for the benefit of humanity. It is important that we create an awareness by a strong propaganda among the people about Go Samrakshana. I strongly believe that in our country, with such huge population, definitely a large amount of funds can be pooled as we have large number of volunteers that can be gathered. It is just initially a few would start doing it with perseverance. Thus, both financially as well as physical support can be gained very easily. An important aspect to be paid attention is financial aid and physical help should not stand separately as two different things. A person who offers money should undertake to do little bit of work, and a person who works a lot physically should contribute at least a small amount of money. Only then there will be total involvement of everyone. Also, the people in the society will not stand divided in two castes, namely the affluent and the workforce, but they get united as single family as the children of Gomata. We as human beings should get united as one family in the service of Gomata. There should be mutual nurturing between cow and man. During the yielding period of the cow, the nourishment it offers to more than what we can give to it. That gratitude should always be even after it stops yielding milk. So we should protect the cow as long as it lives. Not only for the yielding cows, but also for the protection of unyielding cows too. We should have an increase in number of cow sheds, pasu matams, pinjara poles, and presently few in number, which are very few in number. What we spend is for the purpose, not only for investment in the form of punya, we should also come forward to donate liberally, both in terms of physical help and money without any hesitation. The Go Samrakshana Dharma, which is embedded in this nascent ancient culture, should speak in our blood. Speaking that way, we should make it get involved in cow protection, and the same zeal as the cow would run to feed its hungry calf. Protecting a cow by adopting it and nurturing it is the greatest of all dharmas. In life, I found 85% of our population has no interest on social work, meaning spending for others. I consider them as wasted life. Rest 10% of them do social work with others' money, temples, mutts, charitable institutions. Nothing great. Remaining 4% are super rich people who spend 1 to 2% of their fortune on some social work. We should belong to the balance 1% category who is prepared to spend 75% of their wealth on social work. This is the only solution for the country. This is the only way we Indians can unite and contribute for the development and growth of the country. Then the purpose of life will be achieved. I make this observation without any sense of ego. Thank you very much for all your patient hearing. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I have a video by Jaraman, sir. There seems to be some issue in my system. Please allow me a minute. I'll try to play it.
So just one question was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if we
Yes.
sorting out the technical issue,
Yes.
We are talking about Indian cow. Is a similar breed available anywhere else in other countries?
No, that is the real beauty. That is the real beauty. That the apart from the indigenous cow, this the other cows which are brought into India, namely, what is that?
Jersey
Jersey cow.
Yeah.
This Jersey is not a cow. As per science, Jersey was a cross between a pig and a horse, pig and a camel. It was a cross bred and they brought it. But because of the milk yield, the Jersey model of cow can yield 5-6 times more than the Desi cow. Britishers, I'm sorry if I'm allowed to speak all this. Britishers, what they did, they destroyed our culture systematically. They knew that the Indian cow has a lot of these potentials. So they brought this Jersey cow, told the people, look, the economic viability of Indian cow is a big problem, and they propagated all these Jersey cows. Today, what the cow's milk which we drink, unfortunately, 75-80% is Jersey cow milk. It is not a Jersey cow at all. Its urine or cow dung is useless. It is only the Indian breed, any Indian breed cows. In fact, there is a Ongol cow, there is this Punganur cow, in the north we have some varieties. So this cow research center has to be done, much research, and we have to develop high yielding indigenous cow. The problem today is, I've been in villages, you have 2-3 bulls, and the 2-3 bulls alone is used to mate about 200-300 cows in that village. So the quality of calves which are produced is very low. So we have to have a semen research center, and we have to develop, government has to come to our rescue. There's a saying, just as you have allopathy, homeopathy, now cowpathy. Fortunately, Prime Minister Modi has made a speech. If you listen very carefully, cowpathy, natural manure is going to give lot of importance. Anyway, to answer your question, it is only the Indian Desi cow has all these properties, not the crossbred one abroad. In any other country, you don't have this kind of animal.
So other countries may be importing these Indian cows?
Yes, in fact, you are opening up the Pandora's box. In fact, the other day, incidentally, I happened to meet the ex-DGP, Director General of Police. He was talking to me about this cow protection. He said, Jaraman, when I was in office, an investigation was ordered by me to find out this Punganur cows from Andhra Pradesh have become extinct. Later, he told me there was a big conspiracy done by hundreds of people to eliminate and take away these Punganur cows abroad. Will you believe, sir, one fully grown Punganur cow is sold at 25 lakhs. I repeat the figure, 25 lakhs in US, Germany and other countries. And there, they focus more on cow milk only. They want only milk. They are not bothered about the other. And another thing is this multinational fertilizer corporations, multinational drug corporations. In India, we are importing 1,47,000 crores medicines. We are importing fertilizers 3,82,000 crores. The figures are in my mind. So the multinational corporations will not allow any small cow research center to stay in the country. It requires a lot of political will. It requires a movement by the people. It should require people support. In India, what we feel, only milk. Beyond that, we don't start thinking. All this picture of polls, all these cow shelters must do a lot of research work. Then probably we'll know the real utility. Whatever I spoke is taken from the medical scientific journals. I've got evidences. Anyways.
Jayaraman sir, I have got one question. Now that 2005, the Supreme Court has already given its verdict,
yes,
saying that, killing of cows is,
yes,
against the constitution or whatever it is there.
yes.
But still, how these slaughterhouses are licensed?
That is
I am not able to understand, sir.
That is the tragedy, sir. So whenever the cows are taken for slaughterhouse, police have that order, they will stop it. But corruption and other things play a role. And this fellow will produce a certificate. No, I have sold it to those people for hearing purposes. And they go to slaughterhouses. Where is the political will? Where do we stand? Where is that will? Yes, today police have got powers. Any cow which is caught going for slaughtering can stop it. There's a Supreme Court judgment. Who has got the will to implement it? That is my feeling. You got a lot of people. They have a lot of people in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana also. I know a lot of unions. They get information that in one truck, officially we can take 4 to 5 cows. They just push in 25 to 30 cows. No space to breathe also. Then close the whole thing and take to slaughterhouse. And they start somewhere the police stop and these aggressive people they stop it. Such cows have taken to my Gosala.
Okay.
This is the very unfortunate state. Yes, Supreme Court judgment is there. Who is bothered to implement?
There's actually some slight deviation, sir. When this Yogi Adityanath has become the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh,
Yes.
immediately within weeks, he has shut down all illegal slaughterhouses.
Yes.
But there are still legally licensed slaughterhouses. That is actually putting a question why, how
Sir, these
can be run
licensed slaughterhouses have been prohibited to slaughter cow. There is no licensed slaughter cow, but they use that license is only for slaughtering bulls and other animals. They misuse it to slaughter the cow. And the reason, that's only solution, as I told you, sir, make the cow as a national animal. Just as you have peacock as a national bird, we should have cow as a national animal. That is the only solution.
Sorry, sir. One more question. Last question. I'm bothering you a lot. And actually, leaving alone, we treat cow as the mother and all. Whether let it be religious, other things, uses and utilities also you have told from medical and all these things. But only thing is, it appears on the face of earth of your talk that this cow protection, not actually cow rearing and all these things, it is a very viable business proposition. We are getting very high return on investment. I feel from the facts what you have given. Why these corporates also cannot exploit this situation? Do
That
good
is
thing, doing good
the-
thing as well.
exactly, that is the question, sir.
benefit of.
That is what I said. Where are our industrialists? Where are our people? Why they are prevented by these multinational corporations? There's a big game going on. You have
Game.
how much problems I faced, you know? How much problems for setting up the Gosala, treating 267 cows? How many people came to me and said, what interest I've got? My God, it's a big conspiracy which goes on. Unless there is a big political will from the government, there's nothing which can be done. Sir, these multinational corporations will not allow you any research to be done on cow urine and cow dung. I'm telling you. So this is surprising me for me. You see isolated cases where from cow dung they have done and they have earned crores. There are cases they are doing it, but in an institutionalized manner, we are prevented. We are prevented. Of course, Prime Minister Modi has taken a lot of initiative. He has constituted a high-power committee to go into the real medical benefits of the cow dung, cow urine, and a cow party is going to come shortly. It takes time, you know, our political setup and all that. So when we talk something good for the country, then you know the shouting which takes place everywhere. So, I mean, we hope the better things would come. Definitely it is profitable. Now for me, I'm an ordinary person. I cannot spend crores of rupees from my earnings. So from Madanapalli, where will I take it? I can prepare 32 medicines, sir. I can prepare. There are people who are prepared to help, but who will do the initial investment? Who will take the risk? An industrialist or anyone says, I'll say allopathy or homeopathy, their established medicines will put it. Who will take the risk? And then who will educate the people? That is the issue. Who will educate? That's the issue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Ravi, you could do something?
Yes, sir, I can play the video now.
Right.
I hope it's audible.
Fine.
Not audible. Audio,
It's
some
not
problem. Audio problem is there.
There is no audio.
Okay, just a minute. No, give me 1 minute.
అమ్మా, ఏం చెప్పాడు?
Is it audible now?
No. No, Ravi.
Video also is not coming, only picture is coming.
Correct.
Maybe some bandwidth issue, buffering is going.
Video is playing.
Not a issue. Ravi, try again. I mean, it's a wonderful, should be a good knowledge for us.
గోవులను సంరక్షించేందుకు నడుం బిగించారు. చిత్తూరు జిల్లా గుల్లపల్లి మండలం
Yes, now it is okay.
శ్రీ కనికలమ్మ
Sorry.
గోశాల ఏర్పాటు చేశారు.
Start from the beginning.
3 గోవులతో ప్రారంభించిన ఈ గోశాలలో
Start from the beginning.
ఆ ప్రాంతంలో మనుషులు బతకాలంటే ఒక్కోసారి కరవుతో కటకటలాడాల్సిన పరిస్థితి. ఇక పశుపక్ష్యాదులను పోషించే స్తోమత ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది? పొట్ట పోసుకునేందుకు, కుటుంబాన్ని పోషించుకునేందుకు ఇంకో దిక్కులేక తక్కువ ధరకే గోవులను అమ్ముకుంటుంటారు అక్కడి ప్రజలు. వారి దగ్గర నుంచి గోవులను సంరక్షిస్తూ ఎందరికో ఆదర్శంగా నిలుస్తున్నాయి జయరాం.
హైదరాబాద్కు చెందిన జయరాం తాను సంపాదించిన దానిలో ఎంతో కొంత మూగజీవాల సంరక్షణకు వినియోగించాలని సంకల్పించారు. ఆవులను పోషించలేక తక్కువ ధరలకే అమ్మేస్తున్న రాయలసీమలోని కరువు జిల్లాలను ఎంచుకున్నారు. గోవులను సంరక్షించేందుకు నడుం బిగించారు. చిత్తూరు జిల్లా గుల్లపల్లి మండలం కన్నెమడుగులో శ్రీ కనికలమ్మ గోశాల ఏర్పాటు చేశారు. 3 గోవులతో ప్రారంభించిన ఈ గోశాలలో ప్రస్తుతం 200కు పైగా ఉన్నాయి. వీటిని పోషించడమే కాకుండా వాటి పేడ, మూత్రాలతో సహజ ఎరువులు తయారు చేసి రసాయన రహిత వ్యవసాయానికి తన వంతు సాయం అందిస్తూ స్థానికుల మన్ననలు అందుకుంటున్నారు.
దాంట్లో ఒక 100 ఆవులు 500 ఆవులు అలా పెట్టేసి ఏదో దానికి మేత కొంచెం పట్టేస్తే అది గోశాల కాదండి. గోశాల అంటే ఒక న్యాచురల్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ లో ఉండాలి. గోశాల అంటే పొద్దున్న అది గ్రేసింగ్ కి పోవాలి, తిరిగి వచ్చిన తర్వాత కట్టకుండా మనం అది ఒక సుఖమైన ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ లో ఉండాలి. అది నా ఉద్దేశం. దానికోసమే ఇంత ఖర్చు పెట్టి ఇంత దూరం వచ్చి ఇక్కడ గోశాల పెట్టాం. ఈ వ్యవసాయులు మాత్రం చాలా సంతోషంగా నాకు సహకరిస్తున్నారు.
గోశాల నిర్వహణకు ఇక్కడి స్థానికులను పనిలో పెట్టుకున్నారు జయరాం. తమకు పని కల్పించడంతో చెన్నై, బెంగళూరు నగరాలకు వలస వెళ్లే దుస్థితి లేకుండా పోయిందని వారు అంటున్నారు.
వీటికి అవసరమైన షెడ్లు, గ్రాసం, తాగునీరు, వైద్య సదుపాయాన్ని అందుబాటులో ఉంచాడు. కరువు ప్రభావంతో పడమటి మండలాల్లో తీవ్రమైన పశుగ్రాసం కొరతను పశువులు ఎదుర్కొంటున్నాయి. వ్యాధులు ప్రబలి అనారోగ్యంతో మృత్యువాత పడుతున్నాయి. దేశంలోని వివిధ జాతుల స్వదేశీ రకం పశువుల సంరక్షణ, పునరుత్పత్తి లక్ష్యంగా గోశాల నిర్వహణ చేపట్టామని నిర్వాహకుడు జయరామన్ తెలిపారు.
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఈ ఆవు మూత్రం, తర్వాత ఆవు పేడ, ఇవన్నీ మేము కలెక్ట్ చేసి దాన్ని కలిపి జీవామృతం చేస్తున్నాను. ఈ జీవామృతం పొలాలకి పెడుతున్నాం. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే కెమికల్స్ అవి వేసి కెమికల్ యూరియా వలన బాగా హాని కలుగుతుంది. ఇక్కడున్న రైతులకి ఈ జీవామృతం ఎలా చేయాలి అనేది కూడా మేము నేర్పిస్తున్నాం. ఈ 2 ఏళ్ల నుంచి వర్షాలు లేవు ఈ ఏరియాలో. వర్షాలు లేకపోవడంతో వరి గడ్డి చాలా ప్రాబ్లం అయిపోయింది. సో నేను కష్టపడి నెల్లూరు నుంచి ఒక 20 లారీలు వరిగడ్డీలు అని చెప్పాం. అవన్నీ తీసి ఇక్కడ స్టోర్ చేస్తున్నాం అన్నమాట.
గోమూత్రంతో సేంద్రియ ఎరువులు, క్రిమిసంహారక మందులు తయారు చేస్తూ విష ప్రభావం లేని నాణ్యమైన దిగుబడులను 20 ఎకరాల వ్యవసాయ క్షేత్రంలో సాధిస్తున్నారు. ఈ విధానాన్ని పడమటి మండలాల రైతులకు తెలియజేస్తూ ఆచరించేలా చూస్తున్నారు. శ్రీ కనకాలమ్మ అమ్మవారి పుణ్యస్థలాన్ని అన్ని విధాలా అభివృద్ధి చేసేలా జయరామన్ కృషి చేస్తున్నారు.
గ్రీనరీ డెవలప్ చేస్తున్నామండి ఏరియాలో కూడా. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు వర్షాలు పడాలంటే గ్రీనరీ ఉండాలి. తర్వాత ఈ కొండలన్నీ కాల్చకూడదు. కొండలు కాల్చకుండా మేము ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేస్తున్నాం. వ్యవసాయులందరినీ పిలిపించి చాలా పాఠాలు కూడా చెప్తున్నాం.
చాలా ఏర్పాటు చేసి 3 సంవత్సరాలు అవుతుందండి. 3 సంవత్సరాల అంటే ఇక్కడ మనకి సార్ ఇక్కడ మాకు జీవనోపాధి కలిగిస్తున్నారు. ప్రజెంట్ ఇక్కడ 20 నుంచి 30 ఫ్యామిలీస్ ఇక్కడ మాకు జీవనోపాధి కలుగుతుంది. సార్ ఇక్కడ గోశాల ఏర్పాటు చేయకపోతే మా 30 మంది ఫ్యామిలీస్ ఇక్కడ తిరుపతి కానీ, బెంగళూరు కానీ, హైదరాబాద్ కానీ వలసపోవాల్సి ఉన్నది. వలసపోకుండా ఇక్కడ మాకు జీవనోపాధి కల్పిస్తున్నారు సార్.
ఈ గోశాలను పాల కోసం, వ్యాపార లబ్ధి కోసం కాకుండా నిస్వార్థంగా గో సంరక్షణే లక్ష్యంగా జయరాం చేస్తున్న కృషి అభినందనీయమంటున్నారు స్థానికులు.
Wonderful.
For sharing with us the wonderful work that you do. I would now request our president, Mr. Vijayarati, to please make some announcements.
Yeah. Mr. Malik, do you have anything to ask before I proceed?
Nothing, Vijay bhai. Very good information that, see, of course, we know cow is a valuable thing for our families, but so much of inside information like, medicinal values and all other things, like, the data Mr. Jayaraman has given, that is really amazing, and which we are not aware of.
Yeah, we are not aware of, and we have not focused on it. Rather,
Yes,
I'll say it's an eye opener for us. This is what I feel.
He's doing a great job.
We have never bothered to. I mean, that opportunity never came to know about it. So much about it. So we are, as Rotarians, we are always working for the society. So I think cow mata, go mata, as we call it, so it's part of our society.